Most of us know the word ego, but usually people have a superficial understanding of it. People like to reference, celebrities, like, oh, that celebrity has a big ego. They need to stay relevant. They need to keep buying things. They need to have this surrounding. They need to have this surrounding of love all the time, so that their ego doesn't deflate. So, that's kind of like the common understanding of what the word ego means. But in spirituality, the word ego means something different. The way I look at ego is it's the thing that wants to survive. That's ultimately what the ego is. It's like that selfish part of you that will do anything to get by. When you go and see your friends or something and you feel like you need to seek approval. Let's say you got a new jacket or something like that, and you want that approval, you want that survival, because the reason why it's survival is because if we didn't get that approval when we were ancestors, when we were living in tribes, we would literally be kicked out, and if we weren't approved by the tribe, we would actually die. So it would equal death. That's why people get social anxiety, because they're so afraid of that disapproval that subconsciously they fear death. That's really what social anxiety is. Actually, most anxieties, if not all, lead back to death. So it's an interesting way of how the ego evolved, and it's mainly for survival purposes. Let me see if I can please my tribe. Let me see if I can hunt. If I can get enough things for my family so that we can survive. So it's all centered around survival. And a popular approach to spirituality these days is to dissolve the ego. And one of the most beautiful things about dissolving the ego is that you care less about what people think of you. Because while you're in the ego, while you're acting from the ego, of course you're going to care about what people think of you. You want to maintain a group of people. You're afraid to lose love, so you're afraid to lose friends. It's all connected to love, by the way. Since you're afraid to lose all of these things that affect your survival, that's why you care so much about what people think of you. And even if you say, I don't care what people think, you still do. You're not going to. Do you really have the confidence to walk into a business meeting with just your underpants? I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. You're not going to be necessarily sent to jail for that. But, well, if you really don't care, why don't you try it? There's still that kind of stigma of what will they think of me, and if they think wrongly of me, that it will kill me. Like, imagine if people are embarrassed for you, or if you see a group of people reacting in a negative way, are you really not going to care what they think of you? Of course you're going to get embarrassed. If you're just giving a presentation at work and you fart during that presentation, and like 20 people notice, and they notice, and they make a scene out of it, of course you're going to your body's going to flush all red, and you're going to get embarrassed. Why? I mean, it doesn't they're not killing you. You're still going to come home the same way. Your life isn't going to change. So why are you so scared? It's because your tribe from millions of years ago would literally kick you out, and you would die because you can't survive without the tribe. The tribe provides different aspects of life, and by yourself, maybe you can't hunt by yourself, maybe you can't make it. So that fear is embedded in our DNA, and that's why it's so hard for us to shake that fear. And one of the goals of spirituality is to dissolve the ego. Now you wonder, well, how might I do that? Well, all roads lead to meditation. So it's basically one of the most basic practices of spirituality is to meditate. And meditation does help you dissolve the ego, because it allows you to look at things outside of yourself. It allows you to realize, wow, my life is finite. What am I really preserving if I'm going to die just like everyone else? And you start to realize how pathetic it is to serve this ego, caring about what people think, buying all kinds of crap to impress people or to make you happy temporarily. That's all ego. That's all ego. So with meditation, you start to discover, just with your mind, just with your consciousness, how pathetic that ego really is. So the way to do that is to have a consistent practice of meditation. So the way to do that is to meditate every single day and actually look forward to it, actually see the progress. Because what happens is when you realize that the ego is just implanted in you to help you survive, it's kind of still there even when you're already surviving. Think about it. If you're living in a house or an apartment, or if you have a roof over your head and you have food, the survival aspect is already done. Like you can check that off of your list. You've already survived. But the ego doesn't believe that. You know, it thinks it's still in nature. So it's going to continue to survive. It's going to continue to tell you to, oh, you know, you have to care what people think. You have to buy something. I have to buy something new. And because otherwise, you know, that you have to seem, you have to have the same status, the same baseline level as everyone else. So if somebody gets a brand new TV, you have to get a brand new TV. It's almost like it's just this competition, you know, of survival as well. So there's many layers to it. And once you do dissolve the ego, there's just this weight that it's amazing. It's like how certain monks describe enlightenment to be as if you're levitating a few inches off the ground. It's like you don't have that weight of being a human anymore, because being a human is this constant anxious squirrel that's trying to survive, and it's almost like you're just stuck in your own head most of the time, trying to figure out how to survive this way, how to survive that way. And it's really sad, because when you realize how amazing it is to be, how precious it is to exist, you discover that survival is simply a mechanism inside of you, and that you can let go of it. So I encourage you to do a meditation where you isolate everything except your breath. Once you do this, you will realize that the act of you breathing will make you forget about survival. It'll make you forget about your ego. And all of a sudden you will be not yourself, but you will be humanity. Ultimately you will die, so what will continue humanity? That's what you really are. You are humanity. You're not just a person. You are every human being, because ultimately you're only serving a little part, and your life isn't going to go on forever. So you have to consider, okay, what's really going to go on forever? Humanity. And then when you realize how many amazing people there are in humanity, how many intellectuals there are that are keeping it afloat, you realize, well, okay, maybe humanity is going to be okay. And if humanity is going to be okay, I'm going to be okay. And suddenly the ego, that little ego, goes away. Because you're this, now you're this. You don't have to be this little guy with back pain, you know, like, oh, my back, this is horrible. No, that's not what you are. You will be just as happy for others as you are for yourself. Imagine you're this one organism, and all the successful people in the world are each finger of your body. So one person dies, the other person, you know, flies to Mars and starts a colony, the other person invents some vaccine, the other person invents some new computer software. Everybody does their little part, and you're proud of this person, you're proud of that person, you're proud of this person, you're proud of yourself, but you're also proud of that person, because it's all you. That's what it feels like to dissolve the ego. You're not just thinking of what's in it for me. Oh, I will only be happy if I'm the guy that gets to Mars first. I'm only going to be happy if I'm the guy that gets the electric car into the mainstream, or if I invent a new phone or a new gadget. It has to be me. But what does it matter? Humanity is going to get it anyways, right? So why does it have to be you? Why can't you be happy for that other person that invents it? That's what it means to dissolve the ego. Being just as happy for the other person as you would be for yourself. Think about that. Think about how beautiful that is. You can let go because everyone's doing their own thing, and that's great. That's you. Let them. Let yourself do it. You're doing it simultaneously through every human being on the planet, and everyone's contributing their part. And if you do your part and you're proud of yourself, that's great. And if somebody does something better than you, you should be happy for them. Why does it have to be you? You can only do so much. And of course, you should do your part. I mean, what else are we going to do on this planet? It's kind of boring to sit around and not do anything. So, of course, do your part, but be just as happy when other people get their achievements. Be happy for yourself, but be just as happy for others, as if it's you. Just see your face in them and pretend it's you until you know it's you. That's dissolving the ego. I encourage you to start thinking in this way. That is the only way we will be united in many centuries to come. That's the only way we can unite, is if human consciousness starts appreciating each other this way, treating humanity as a family rather than who can I beat to the top. Because there is no place at the top. We're all going to die. Only humanity can reach the top together.